Tobias Harris over me?
Tobias Harris, way off. Maxey kicks it out. Harris spots up in the corner. That won't go. Then Harris telling him to go through. He's looking to post up Josh Hart.
During the Joel Embiid era, there always seems to be an obstacle in their way. You can point to the myriad of teams in the East who've given them trouble over the years. However, the biggest culprit lies within their own roster. In the 2019 offseason, the Sixers had a decision to make. Not only was this their most formidable roster around Joel Embiid, they had a choice to either keep Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris. They chose the younger Tobias, signing him to a colossal 5-year, $180 million contract. That contract, when he signed it, put him as the 10th highest paid player in the entire league. Not only was he clearly not worth this much, but Tobias took up such a huge portion of the salary cap that it crippled the team permanently. The Sixers simply didn't have the space to build around Embiid any further. That's 5 years where the Sixers were severely handicapped. And in this league, if you even have one bad contract, your chances to compete for the title plummets. But what is it about Tobias Harris that makes him such a non-impactful player? How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today let's take a detailed look at everything that's wrong with Tobias Harris. At a glance, Harris's regular season numbers don't look terrible. Over several years, he's consistently averaged like 16 to 19 points a game on average or above average efficiency, but it always seems like he has such little impact on the game. That's because he's not particularly good in any specific skill, and in the playoffs, even though he rarely ever sees a double team, he can hardly score in one-on-one situations. Take this play, for example. He has the much smaller Dante DiVincenzo guarding him. Harris has 4 or 5 inches and 20 to 30 pounds over him, and with his size and experience, this should be a major mismatch in favor of the Sixers. As you can tell, he can't capitalize. This is the epitome of what makes Tobias so ineffective. He's the same size as Aaron Gordon, and while Gordon always tries to punish his defender, if he sees a mismatch, he bullies his way to the basket.
His size and strength gets into the paint.
Harris cannot do the same. When Embiid sees double teams, or when he lures the defense with his gravity, more often than not, the man they leave open is Harris. Yet he cannot take advantage. The root of Tobias's problems stems from his lack of an offensive bag. Now, I heard people don't like the term bag, but it's fairly accurate when we're talking about him. For example, even a shot like this. You have Harris trying to post up the much shorter Josh Hart. While we all know Hart is a feisty defender, Harris's go-to move in every situation like this is a turnaround fadeaway. It goes in this time. But if you have a smaller guy on you, you'd expect your second highest paid player to take advantage by taking him to the rim. Even on this play right here, Harris is literally at the rim, but then he sees Josh Hart and immediately passes it out. If this was any other player at his size, they would try to dunk it or finish over Hart, or muscle their way through. This is one of his biggest problems. Tobias actively avoids physical contact, and he's one of the softest players in the entire league, which also reflects in his free throw attempts too. For the amount of shots he takes, he certainly doesn't shoot many free throws. Look at this play right here.
Harris, mid-range jumper, no. Hartenstein, another rebound.
Now, we all know OG Anunoby is one of the league's best defenders, but with this much space, there's no way Harris should be pulling up with a hand in his face like this. He doesn't even consider bodying him up or trying to get a closer shot. There is a bright side though. For what it's worth, Tobias is actually very good at finishing at the basket. The issue is he has a hard time getting to the basket, because he's simply not skilled enough to maneuver his way there. For the season, he actually hits 69% of his shots at the rim, but he only takes 1/4 of his shots from there, as opposed to around 45% of his shots from mid-range, an area of the floor that he's comfortable in and he's okay at hitting them. But when the defense gets tight in the playoffs, they're not the kind of shots the Sixers want him to take. Compared to other players with a similar build, you can tell their offense, their bag is far more polished than Tobias's. There's another problem with Harris that stuck with him for his entire career. He's not good off the ball. According to NBA.com's dashboard, he only shoots 37.6% off of catch and shoots, and 43% on pull-ups. Even then, he doesn't necessarily move off the ball that frequently either. Harris stands around a lot. During nights when his shot isn't falling, he doesn't do anything else. Even the opposing team is aware of his lack of movement. In this play here, Anunoby is sagging off him so much that he doesn't even provide any spacing for Embiid. With the amount of jump shots Tobias takes, you'd expect the other team to at least treat him like he's a threat. But they don't. They don't respect his shot. This might be because he gets scouted very well. Tobias shoots only 40% from corner threes. It might seem okay at a glance, but then you realize Tyrese Maxey shoots 55% from the corners. Nick Batum and Kyle Lowry both shoot 43% and provide more in other parts of the game. What's the point of putting Harris in the corner if he can't even do that better than his teammates? Perhaps it's an issue with coaching? Or maybe it's because the Sixers have given him so many chances to embrace a bigger role, but he's not capable of doing so. For example, in the 2 months Joel Embiid sat out due to injury, Harris did not even want a bigger role. He still put up his usual 16 to 17 points a game, and instead of elevating his own game and trying to take over, he deferred to Kelly Oubre. Oubre was the guy shouldering the increased burden instead, even though Harris is supposedly the more talented player. Harris was always the third option on his team, but even when Embiid went down, he still somehow remained the team's third option. There's always someone else stepping up in his place. You can point to his lack of aggression. I know it's cliche to say that, but Harris has never shown he wants it bad enough. Since he signed his colossal contract, he stopped improving. It's more common than you think. Some players don't want the spotlight, nor the recognition. They play for their next paycheck, and with this kind of money, it's no wonder Harris lost motivation over the years. We've talked about Harris and his limited scoring arsenal, but a player shouldn't be judged solely on that, right? There are other ways to impact the game, and considering the amount of money he makes, he's gotta contribute in other ways. Except, he really doesn't. When his shot isn't falling, or when the defense figures out how to guard all 3 of his moves, he literally does not do anything else. When he sees his teammates get doubled, he can't even take advantage of that. When he gets the ball and needs to create a play, it always ends up in a contested jump shot. Most importantly, he's not a fantastic defender either. He's okay, he can handle guys of similar speed as him, but guards routinely abuse him, and he's not strong enough to guard any legitimate power forward. The Sixers don't trust him either, cause most of the time, they stick him on the guy who's standing in the corner. Very rarely does he make an impact on defense, because he's not asked to do much in plays like this. A 35-year-old Nick Batum is a better defender than he is. The era of Tobias Harris has been polarizing, and he's aware of the criticism, as he hears it from fans all the time. However, it was this quote from the 2023 offseason that caught everyone's attention.
Trade speculation, casual Sixers fans, they'll trade me for a crumble cookie. But at the end of the day, they have to realize, you're not getting a 6'9" forward back who can, damn near shoot 40% from 3, guard other team's best player, shoot post-up drive, play 70-plus games a year.
This led to Daryl Morey responding with this hilarious tweet. Had to check out the first crumble cookie store. Don't worry, Tobias, no casual fans in sight here. The fans are throwing him under the bus and using him as an excuse for the team's failures, which I think that's partly true. Throughout the years, the Sixers' struggles to get past the second round is not solely the fault of Harris. It's a combination of things. Embiid's untimely injuries. Seems like every year he's never fully healthy for the playoffs. A lack of coaching during the Doc Rivers era held them back from their full potential. The Ben Simmons saga, where he looked completely disinterested. Harris and his contract certainly prevented them from building their team properly, but it's all of these reasons why the Sixers have not lived up to their expectations. However, with his contract to expire by the summer of 2024, that's one roadblock they finally got over. But what's in store for the future of the Philadelphia 76ers? Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. And of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.